I can guarantee you, I was the biggest hater of Jason Horne-Francis.
Okay.
I don't want to fucking hear it from you.
Jasper Fletcher might play some time in there.
So much!
And that's not even touching on their small forward. Number 4.
Who have you got for 4?
Port Adelaide.
Okay.
Obviously going to miss Butters to start the year. They're going to have a switcheroo with all their keys, I think. So you're going to have Alir as the lock. You're going to have Georgiades as the lock. I think Ollie Lord as well should be a lock. But after that, you're going to have Radaglia, Zerk Thatcher,
That's right,
Jack Lukosius. Yeah,
Radaglia is so funny sometimes, man.
Jack Lukosius, Ivan Soldo. So there's just going to be a bit of rotation, I'm assuming, there. But I think, obviously, no Butters to start the year, meaning Rosie and Horne-Francis, Drew White. That's still an extremely good midfield mix. And it's probably only bested by maybe 1 or 2 without Butters. So I think Willem Drew now has got the space. You got Josh Sin, Joe Berry. They've got a couple younger players as well who can push through and break through into this team. You've got Kane Farrell, who will probably replace what Dan Houston was doing. I dare say Sin will probably still play off of half back. You've got Logan Evans, who I think was really, really good at the back end of last year. He'll continue to improve. And then their forward line now, there's a bit of a stronger mix than it was last year. Still no Marshall, but I think Georgiades has shown he's capable. Lukosius looked good in the weekend against St Kilda. And Ollie Lord should take a breakout year this year. So I think the big reason I have them finishing 4th, though, whereas you have them finishing 8th, was Jason Horne-Francis.
Don't tell me you think it's a breakout year.
I was the biggest hater of Jason Horne-Francis for the first
No, you
2
weren't.
years.
I can guarantee you weren't. I can guarantee you, I was the biggest hater of Jason Horne-Francis.
Okay.
I don't want to fucking hear it from you.
I was the second biggest hater of Jason
Yeah.
Horne-Francis.
That's better.
Jesus. I might have needed to switch to camera 1 to see that. That could be a thumbnail. And the second version of the thumbnail.
No.
But he could finish top 5 in the Brownlow medal.
Well, if we're going off of his previous years where he's gone fucking 3 votes for 10 possessions at 17% efficiency, absolutely.
He will miss 20 games and he'll vote in all those 20 games. that's how he could win it.
Yeah, I wouldn't
But
surprise me.
I just think that even though you got the stuff with all the coach, obviously this year, there's still a lot of talent, and that's why I have them finishing 4th.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's fair enough. You mentioned Logan Evans. That's one that I need to look out for.
Yes.
Because I heard his name come up not long ago, and I'm like, I have not heard of Logan Evans. But hearing that he had a good second half of the season, I want to keep a lookout for him.
Number 4.
All right, let's move to number 4. I've got
Flag mantle.
This one is
Yeah.
an interchangeable one with number 3. This one was hard to pick because I think Fremantle is ready for a big year. They've got some great additions. Overall, they've got some good players. Hayden Young being out for a little bit could maybe affect how that goes, but I think they've got such a strong rotation nearly all around the ground that it's going to be hard for it to really affect them. He's just an addition when he comes back. I will not mention who I think it is, but I've got one of these guys within the midfield in my top 3 for the Brownlow. I think one of them is going to smash it this year.
Do I.
Just from rises. From rises. This person has been rising over and over. And so I think this could be a really, really big year. And obviously they've got some experience, not premiership experience, but I mean, Nat Fyfe, although he's nowhere near at his best, will provide his impact here and there.
Yep.
You've got Alex Pearce running as captain, who I think
will miss early as well.
Yeah, and I think that's okay for free. I think they'll be able to work around it. But you've got they've got positions and players to work out every single matchup, right? You've got your small defenders and attackers. You've got Switkowski in forward, and then you move back, and you've got some others like
Chapman, Clark. All those.
I was going to say Clark is probably the one that I'm interested the most in this year because he's shown a lot of signs early in his career, but he started to stagnate from what I can remember.
From 2022 onwards, he hasn't really done too much differently.
So I think if the backline does step up, Jordan Clark will play a part in it.
Yeah.
You've got your big bodies, Tracy, Amos,
No
Pearce
Darcy.
in the back.
No
Darcy, but that's, I mean, Luke Jackson. Bloody hell, that's a very good backup to have. That's a very, very good backup. And Luke Jackson plays some incredible football when he is the sole option.
Oh, yeah.
I think he does a good job of being a role player when he needs to, when Darcy's taking those main ruck duties. But man, is he a good ruckman. I mean, they call him a unicorn for a reason. Like, he's bloody good.
he could be the best around the ground ruckman. I know we talked about Tim English last week being them.
Yeah.
But for sure, his impact is great, both in stoppage and around the ground.
Yeah. And that's why they're interchangeable with 3, because I think they've got great players all around.
Yeah.
And I think this year could be the year that sparks it. And man, from all the links, they look to be getting better next year. So I feel like if it's not this year, it's next year at least.
Yeah.
So I expect Freo. I feel like Freo's height should be a grand final within the next couple of years.
Yeah,
I think
so.
If they're not this year or next year,
they're buying in.
Yeah, if it's not this year or next year, I'd be quite surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, Freo at 4, could be at 3. Yeah, that's that.
I have the reigning premiers at 3.
Okay. Yeah,
Brizzy.
I'm not against it.
A lot of people will probably have them slightly sliding, probably closer to 5, 6 than I have them. But
I'm shocked by that.
Some people also have them sliding out of the 8, which I genuinely cannot understand.
I mean, I understand that their run was kind of like out of the blue, but like they've only they've lost Joe Danaher. They've gotten some Levi Ashcroft looks to be fantastic.
Getting McInerney back for the grand final, getting Dodie, getting Levi Ashcroft back. Well, no, sorry, not back, but a new one.
Yeah, he's another Ashcroft. Awesome.
Getting Marshall in as well from the draft. And Jasper Fletcher's only going to improve. Will Ashcroft's only going to improve. Hugh McCluggage is going to be able to play on the wing full time now, which helps him. Cam Rayner's only going to get better. You're going to have Zach Bailey, who's going to have a much better year than he did have last year. You've got Link McCarthy, who's going to be able to come back this year. Logan Morris is going to improve. Keaton Coleman's going to come back this year. They lost Joe Danaher. They still have so much fucking talent on this list.
I was going to say
that there's no world that they miss out on the finals.
I genuinely believe that Brisbane have what it takes to fill his role with the players they've already got.
Absolutely.
I specifically highlight Hipwood. There is so much talent that will be able to find Hipwood.
100%.
I think Hipwood is really going to benefit from that this year.
In their backline, they've got Andrews, Lester, Jack Payne, and Tom Dodine now. You got Coleman, Zorko, and Starcevic as your 3 other small forwards.
Yeah.
One of the best backlines you will see in the league. Their midfield, McInerney, Neal, Dunkley, McCluggage if he goes in there. The 2 Ashcroft twins. Jasper Fletcher might play some time in there.
So much!
And that's not even touching on their small forwards.
Yeah, I know.
You've got Zach Bailey, Link McCarthy, Charlie Cameron, Kai Lohman. What don't they have?
Yeah, I very much agree with you. I think
so. To see
they're
Brisbane
at least top 4.
missing,
I don't know how people think they're missing unless it goes terribly wrong.
I don't get it.
Like a full Monstars moment where they lose all their talent.
Literally,
I really don't see.
So Brisbane 100% are making top 4 again.
I reckon
100% making top 8 at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So that's why I got them 3rd. I don't think they got the hunger to finish 1st, but they'll definitely finish 3rd.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. My number 3. I've got Hawthorn.
Yeah.
So I think I'm always like I mention the backline a lot because I truly believe that any good team starts at the backline, and Tom Barrass as an addition is a very, very good addition to an already really nice backline.
I'm not as huge on Tom Barrass as others. I think he very much piggybacked off of McGovern.
I think that's fair because look, that's also a West Coast team that he's coming from. A very bad West Coast team. There was also Jeremy McGovern, so to make Barrass look better. But I think he has the tools. And the system is bloody good at Hawthorn.
The system's much better.
The system's
and there's
fantastic.
more talent all around that backline.
Yeah.
That's better than
I
West
think
Coast.
Barrass, won't have to do as much as he did at West Coast.
No.
But I think he's going to come off a lot more effective.
Yeah.
Right? I
Fair
think,
enough.
although that is just one addition, you obviously look at their backline, held up by, I guess I'd say held up by Sicily. He's the captain of the team, so I'd say run by Sicily. But great all around. Scrimshaw coming off the half backline is one of my favourite things to watch. And then you look through
The Weddle Waddle.
Yeah, that's it. You look through the midfield and you've got some good talent in there. Love John Newcomb. Probably the only mid-season draft pickup I've ever seen do well.
No, there are some.
There's
you
some,
just don't
but
see it often.
John Newcomb is the poster child for the mid-season draft. And then I think the forward line has... it is the most flash. It is the most flash in the entire league. So I wouldn't say that equates to talent, but man, is it good when they're firing. It's hard. It's hard to stop. You've got 2 pests in Watson and Ginnivan.
You've got 5 pests there, not just 2.
But the main pests, I think, are Watson and Ginnivan. And then, of course, Marbiel Chol, which we talked about being, not the greatest forward, but obviously it's not like he is a detriment to that forward line.
No.
You've got Gunston, who's still got some experience
Still a little bit
and
of
something
juice
to
left.
kind of he's got that knowledge to pass around. And Sam Mitchell's doing a fantastic job in the head coaching position. He's probably one of the safest coaches out there at the moment.
100%.
Yeah, so Hawthorn looking very prime, but again, interchangeable with Fremantle because I think Fremantle, they could. I was going to say should, but I don't think they should. I think they could pass Hawthorn in terms of rankings. I think Hawthorn.
They're almost tied for me.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. I'm very much a believer in both teams at the moment.
Yeah.
That's 3.
2. Ethan's kind of happy. Can I hear your thoughts on this, Ethan? I want to hear your thoughts on this.
You've really undersold them here, I think.
Piss off.
I could have them finishing 23-0 and second, and it'd still have me thinking I've underrated
Well, that's
them.
impossible, mate.
No, it's not.
23
23 and 0 and second.
Oh yeah, I'm dumb.
Man, you've had some absolutely cracking lines
Leave it
today.
alone.
All right, give us your explanation.
Only got better. Had lots of injuries last year. It's really hard to predict injuries, but I don't think it's going to be hit as bad. They have found another third medium forward who's going to play as a key forward. In memory, got Houston, got Perryman, got some young players who now have experience in the team and will really fight to get in it. I think Sidebottom could potentially come out of the team, but that's more so because we saw a role change for him last year that I don't know he's going to be able to do again this year. Pendlebury could also have the same, but he probably just doesn't play as much.
Which is,
than being out of the team.
I actually disagree. I think they're going to push him for the games record.
I think if they push him for the games record, there's a higher chance of injury, and they could do it over 2 years, where it's both this year and next year.
I get that,
and
but
spread it out.
He's 400. He's still playing at a very good level. I'd imagine they try and get it.
Well, it's what, 432, right?
432.
It's not going to happen this year.
No, I know,
It physically can't.
but they're going to get him as close as they can.
So he'll play another year,
Yeah.
and they'll do what you guys did, but again to beat Boomer's record.
I'll be so sad when that happens.
But I think there's another year now where they can plan without having Nathan Murphy, which will be really important because obviously you got Frampton who sometimes plays there, Charlie Dean plays there sometimes, Tim Membry can also play in the back line. I just think that they've now settled down with this team, even though they've added so many players. They've settled down a little bit.
we know their core.
Yeah. So they got Schultz as well last year, who'll finally be settled in this team. Still got a good small forward tier. And I think now that their midfield is a bit more even, they'll be able to fire back and really jump up the ladder this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible, for sure. For me, number 2, I can never get past this team. I've got Geelong.
It's a big gap between where we have them.
I know.
Very big gap.
I can never get over them. So Max Holmes is coming off a best and fairest season, which is great that a young person has won the best and fairest within that club. My God, they need young talent all the time to come through because obviously Tom Hawkins being gone now. Jeremy Cameron's going to have to play a massive role this year. He is.
Really?
You know what I mean. He doesn't have Hawkins anymore to lean.
He's got Shannon Neal.
Shannon Neal. He's the best player I've ever seen.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, whatever. Look, I think Geelong, they've added, again, more talent. Shock with Bailey Smith. It'll be interesting to see how that goes coming off of a knee injury, a major knee injury, and they've still got the talent all around. I think you mentioned in yours, Tom Stewart was a big question mark, and I agree. I think Tom Stewart is going to be a big hit or miss. He's one that needs to be... I wouldn't even say he needs to take a step up, but he needs to be able to play more of a leadership role now. He needs to be able to bring everyone around him high up. Sam DeConning is probably one that I'd like to see another step up with because he's had some great roles, one-on-one battles as of late, or at least last year. But I think if Tom Stewart is to make a move into the midfield, he will need to take the spot.
I don't think they need to move him into the midfield anymore.
You don't think so?
I think Bailey Smith now adding into the team. Dangerfield probably playing slightly more forward as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Dangerfield. I don't know how long he's going to be a midfield
He's
lock.
not. Apparently they're playing him as like a full-time forward this year. Almost. So I think it'll probably maximise his impact.
Yeah.
Just not his stats for sure.
Yeah, but for me, Geelong just always find a way to fuck around and find out. They just keep doing it.
Yeah, even with his coaching, even with the additions, I still just can't see it with this team. So I have to disagree, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's time to move on to the
number one, baby.
number one team.
Who have you got?
The Sydney Swans.
Okay.
No Errol Goulden for the first, 3 months of the season with a broken ankle. Or fractured ankle.
No Callum Mills either, so off to a fucking great start for number one.
No Callum Mills. No Logan McDonald.
The number one spot should not start off with, so about half their good players are fucked.
I'm looking down the lens. Dean Cox is going to be the saviour of this club. Logan McDonald could leave and they'll still be better off without him. Chad Warner could leave. They won't be better off without him, but it will be very good this year. Isaac Heaney will continue to be very good. That's about all I can say. No, I'm joking.
And they're one!
I'm joking.
You put them at one and that's all you could say, man?
So, who did they lose over the offseason?
Luke Parker.
Not going to do too much.
Yeah.
Barely played.
Who else did they lose? They definitely lost some.
So, they didn't lose anyone. And
I guess so.
They didn't really gain anyone. And young players are just going to come back through. A new coach, which is the most important thing they could have done to this club, because I was sick of Justin Longmire by the end.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that
Longmire.
makes sense. Yeah.
We always see a boost with first-year coaches. Always.
Adam Uze?
Okay, we're not talking about dog shit Richmond. Okay?
I think top 4 is possible for sure, but I mean, you started off talking about all their injuries and you've got them at 1.
Okay, yeah. I don't care.
Yes.
I think Amadi will still be really good this year. You're going to have Papley. People forget about Papley. You're going to have Angus Sheldrick potentially playing in the team this year. You're going to have Braden Campbell breaking out this year. Justin McInerney. They finished first last year. Didn't get better. Didn't get worse.
But they're starting off worse. But I understand what you're saying in the sense that they didn't get worse, right? They don't. Like their list is really good still.
This was made before Errol Goulden's injury. I'm so fucking annoyed. But anyway,
look, I can understand that, right? I can understand looking at their list, like without any context, you could be like, yep, this could be the best team again. This definitely could be the best team again in 2025. But yeah, with the factors we have now, number one is wild.
I just think when you don't lose anyone on your roster, basically, a new coach comes in with a new system, a new game plan. As I'm really losing my voice here right now.
Look, the motivation, and it's the motivation to.
There's a new message in the team.
Yeah, and it's rejuvenating. I understand that. I do understand it, but I don't know if that's going to carry them to 1. I think, like I said, top 4.
They were absolutely blasting through teams in the first half of the season last year. If they just win by 2 to 3 goals every game without Errol Goulden, basically they can just be good enough, and then when he comes back, they could win 6 in a row. Very easily. You still got Chad Warner, you still got Isaac Heaney. There's still so much talent on this list. Brodie Grundy's still there. Taylor Adams. You still got a lot on the list. And I still really like it. The only concern I do have is their key backs. That is the only concern. Because if Tom McCartan isn't playing down there, I'm not a huge fan of it.
But nonetheless, we'll move to my number 1 spot. And we talked about how good they were before. The final team remaining, it is Brisbane. I think with all that they've done to keep, honestly, just their roster being healthy now can be enough to take them over to the top. Yeah. I think the winning the grand final will obviously, I mean, I mentioned before, there is the chance that they have that grand final hangover, so it'll be up to them to bring that motivation back. I know they fought so hard over the last 5 years to try and get to this point, and now that they're at the top of the mountain, then they're the ones being hunted. Do they still have that same hunger? But I think absolutely so. Realistically, they've got so much young talent. They've still got some really good players in their prime, maybe in the case of some just about to head out, but still really, really good players. I just don't see a flaw in this side. It's insane.
It's crazy.
And like I said, although they have lost Joe Danaher, I think that means Eric Hipwood will be fed. This isn't like a North Melbourne situation where it's Nick Larkey and Nick Larkey alone.
No.
You've got Eric Hipwood with Charlie Cameron, Lincoln McCarthy,
forwards.
like all these small forwards who, even if Eric Hipwood doesn't take the mark, all he has to do is bring it to ground, and there's a very good chance there is still a goal made out of that. Like their team is great all around. I'm a big fan of Kitty Coleman and was so upset when he went down round 1 last year. So I'm expecting big things. I really am hoping that this becomes something big for them.
Yeah.
Because if there's any team I think that can start a dynasty in this current day, it is Brisbane. They have the talent. They've got youth. And they're coming off of a premiership now. Everyone there knows what it takes to win a premiership. I see them winning the minor premiership in 2025.
Fair enough.